What is going on? Being in my mid-20s, I've bared witness to many of the trials and tribulations of internet culture since about 2012. From the Minecraft trollface, CSGO betting scandals, Vape Nation, and the whole anti versus pro SJW war that seems to have stained all that followed it. But don't listen to me. I'm just a basement-dwelling loser according to the cool kids. Minus the basement. Not bloody made of money, am I?
Oh yeah, I'm not a man. Fuck you. I'm a fucking woman.
But it can't be overstated that we live in extremely polarizing times, with two major wars and political strife across the West. And I can attest to this as a uni student. Neutral opinions on political and cultural issues are seen as a statement within themselves, and just a sign that you are secretly in support of the opposition. This is terrifying as it trains us to think radically based purely on social survival, aka you don't want to find yourself being too left-wing for the right or too right-wing for the left, leaving you sat on the smelly table eating lunch solo. So you end up becoming an ill-informed mouthpiece for your side to spread mis and disinfo, and this applies to both sides. And now this culture war is raging on through our media. She-Hulk, Rings of Power, The Witcher, and of course the Acolyte being at the forefront of this propaganda war, with the disparity between the critics and the general public outlining an interesting pattern.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way!
Now, is this the evil 4chan cabal of fedora-tipping neckbeards conspiring against the socially righteous bastions of media by review bombing? Or are critics and those at the helm in Hollywood simply out of touch regarding what audiences want, catering to a small minority that has little interest in the media at hand outside of the social issues it's pushing? In the interest of being fair, it probably is a bit of both, although the bloated, failing machine that is Hollywood deserves a lot more of the blame than the fans they are supposedly making this content for. And a lot of it comes down to actual competence and skill. Audiences generally will happily sip the Kool-Aid of whatever social issue or message you are trying to push if the piece of media itself is good. Enough said. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra covered tons of progressive issues, and rightfully so for the record, even making Korra the main character LGBTQ+ back in 2014, with the support of the fans. Not because we are all secretly activists, but because we liked the show and didn't feel like the message was being forced on us. Really odd example, I know, but it's all that came to me. Hell, most of the groundbreaking media of years past have been riddled with left-leaning progressive narratives and messages, which I am fully in support of, just focused on first making the product itself good, because the blatant focus on social issues just shows a lack of skill at the craft. TV shows like Fallout have been released to near universal success and acclaim by fans and critics alike, starring a woman named Lucy, played by Ella Purnell, and Maximus, played by Aaron Moten, a person of colour. This surely shoots a massive hole in the argument that the backlash all these shows and films are receiving is due to sexism, racism, and other phobias and isms. But again, in an effort to be fair, and I haven't actually seen this take online, but I'm sure you could probably make the argument that Lucy is pandering towards the whole trad wife trend. But again, I haven't actually seen this online and don't necessarily buy into it, just practicing some critical thinking. This all leads us to the abhorrent mess that is The Acolyte. Now, if you enjoyed The Acolyte, or any of the media I've been speaking about, I completely respect your opinion and mean no ill will towards you. I'm simply expressing my own opinions on the matter. A show created, co-written and co-directed by Leslie Headland, a heroine of social change who was also Weinstein's PA, meaning her face was likely one of the last you saw before undergoing an extremely traumatizing situation.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits?
The show is littered with social messaging and themes that are so on the nose and simply half-baked that it completely takes you out of the world you are meant to be immersed in, mangling and beating Star Wars lore to fit around the show's ultimately basic story. The acting is so over the top that it gives the prequels a run for its money, and the excessive use of sound stages leaves the whole show feeling like a cheap uni film. Although this is an issue for Star Wars as a whole, to be fair. Although this show does seem to mark an interesting change in direction. Instead of the likes of Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, who you could argue do fall to the right of centre lampooning the show, relatively neutral personalities such as Jeremy Johns and Penguin ZO have come out to voice their distaste for the show. Could the Acolyte finally be the thing that unites us? Probably not, but it's nice to think so. We as a society need to find a way to break out of this politicised tribal mindset that we have been beaten into by the powers that be. All it does is divide us, make us dumber, more vain, quicker to anger, slower to question, and ultimately easier to be played off each other. And the only way to do this is to engage with those of opposing views with warmth and kindness, while still being authentic to your views and beliefs. So please use my comments section as a shining example of what we could be. I encourage those who disagree with me to voice their opinions, and ask that anyone watching this video do the same.